Welcome to another episode of Insurance Gone Wild. I'm your host, Dennis Settlemar, and my lovely co-host,
Stephanie Lencioni.
Lencioni.
Yeah.
Well, it has been, what a week. What a weekend.
You know, after reviewing a couple of our episodes here recently, I feel like that is how we start every episode, because it is hard to be an insurance agent.
It is hard.
Like,
I mean, other jobs are hard too, but that's not what we're saying.
It's not the hardest thing ever, but like,
it's definitely interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's draining.
It's definitely interesting.
It's lovely, but it's draining.
Man, I got my hat down low. Look at this. Call me Dwight Yoakam. Dwight Yoakam here. So
you are not.
No, see, y'all see this? Y'all see that? This is we're filming this in November. Movember, is that what we call it? No Shave November.
Okay.
And I started on mine in, what did I say, what year?
I think 2016.
2016. I can't grow a beard to save my life, but
by the way, it is not 2016 right now.
it is not.
The podcast didn't even start until 2025, 5 technically,
25,
I think.
Really? Yeah, we haven't been doing this very long as of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very fortunate that people are tuning in. Why? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't either.
Probably you lose another button on that shirt, and I bet we get a couple more viewers there, big guy.
Tell you what, if I don't get back on the wagon, I'm not going to be able to wear a shirt. I'm going to be sitting here shirtless.
Shirt with no buttons.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'd be like just a t-shirt or a tank top is all I'm going to be up. One of those kind of expands, the rib kind.
The ribbed kind, like the accordion style. Where it's
I was going to say there's a name for those, but I don't want to say that.
No,
I don't want to get anybody offended.
I'm with you.
But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit today about a commercial thing. I love commercial. And we're in Texas, which is a very, very, very 90-something% very unique state when it comes to workers' compensation. What is it? What does it do? And why is Texas so unique? So I'll just go ahead and get that part out of the way.
Okay.
Texas is unique because we are the only state that does not require workers' compensation.
Are we the only? I knew we were one of the few.
We are the only. There may be one other where it's a little more
lax,
but we are the only one that does not require it. It is unique, and as I talk to business owners, guess what I hear when I ask them about workers' compensation?
I don't need to have it.
Why?
Oh,
because in Texas,
yeah,
it's not required.
And God knows nobody wants to spend money on any insurance policy that's not required.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah.
But
we also get the other side of it too.
So let me just put this out there real quick for the folks that tell me that. And for the folks that aren't in the state of Texas that are listening, which are a number of them, they're like, what? Texas doesn't require it? Or, yeah, I knew Texas didn't require it, but that's crazy. A lot of the country thinks we're crazy. A lot of the country goes, I wish we didn't have to pay for it, but we do. But the thing you need to understand about, even though in Texas it's not required, an employer is still responsible for all medical bills and lost wages in the event that an employee gets injured.
Yeah. So to your point on that, in a rephrase, just because it's not required doesn't mean Texas removes the liability from the employer. That is still very much present, very much a real thing. They're just saying, in Texas's way of things, like, do it or don't. Like, it's your call. Buckle up, don't buckle up. Nobody cares, but just understand the consequences if you don't have it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You say buckle up or don't buckle up.
I mean, now you have to buckle up. Texas did say, like, click it or ticket. But
no, what I was getting at, do you know what it's called if you're in the state of Texas and you do not have workers' comp? Do you know what they call that?
Unbuckled.
Close.
Oh.
Going naked. Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Going naked is what it's called.
Should that be the theme of this episode?
Maybe
Do we
so.
need to cut and then go
Here's
full like
the theme of the
we're
episode.
in workers' comp mode, Texas
right.
style?
Going naked
Wow.
with workers' compensation.
Check out our other podcast at
That one is $2.95 a minute.
hell no, I'm worth more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're giving a discount. You know,
well, that's fair. If you're a subscriber here.
No,
anyway,
but
that is interesting.
Every other state, let's just say every other state
hang on.
requires.
They literally couldn't have come up with anything else.
I don't know. That's just what everybody calls it.
So
if I'm talking to an insurance company, they're like, "Well, they had insurance before." I'm like, "No, they've been going naked." Okay.
So, networking groups and things like this. Just a side note. One of our favorite former title people.
Yes.
So when they changed,
which has gotten so popular, they won't smoke a cigar with me anymore.
Oh, I'll call her and give her a help.
I gave her a hard time on Facebook about that. But anyway, go ahead.
But when they were changing the language there, which was, I think, probably like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and they're like, okay, well, now when you sign the contract and do that, it's consummation.
Oh.
And I'm like, so then you consummate your loan or your mortgage or your, where are people coming up with these terms?
I don't
and
know.
Like,
it's probably people with a mind like yours.
Well, then I digress. I've changed people's worlds because when people drive around and look at different architecture or shapes in the world, they think of me because they're like, oh, she's right. It does look like that. And so I'm like, I would get text messages. They're like, oh my God, you've ruined me. Now every time I drive around, that's all I see.
That's funny.
And we'll just leave it at that for what I see. But if you know me and if we've had the conversation, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I'm sorry, back on track.
There are, in almost every state, except for 5, I think, you can buy your own workers' comp through companies. Insurance companies.
Sure.
You just pick your policy and go from there. But there are 1, 2, 3, maybe it's 4. Let's see, North Dakota, Ohio, Wyoming, and Washington are called monopolistic states. And what that means is you must buy the workers' comp through the state. You
How
don't have
random.
a choice. Yeah.
Those are
kind of
random.
Weird. Well, I don't know what states you would choose. It wouldn't be random, but to me, they're random. Yeah.
Well, but it's not like a
North
region.
Dakota?
Well, I think because of, I would be interested to know when they got on that list, but.
Been like that for years.
Oh, okay. Just because I know they had a big oil boom. That's actually how my grandparents got kicked out of their place because of all the, they were supposed to have rent control and the things, but then the big oil boom and they came up and they jacked up their rate by six times.
Wow.
It was crazy because it was kind of like Midland where they ended up running out of housing. And that's what was happening in North Dakota. So I just don't know if it was the last 10 years or has it been going on pretty much since North Dakota came up with it.
So
that was all.
I've got some notes here. It's actually a website, but I knew some of this stuff. I just didn't remember all of it by heart. But this kind of reminded me of some things. Workers' comp actually goes all the way back to about 2000 BC, whenever they would pay employees if they got hurt in certain parts of the world. In Sumeria, Sumeria, paid workers for their injuries. Similar laws were in place in ancient Greece, China, and other parts of the world. For example, under ancient Arab law, if an injured worker hurt their ear, they got an amount of money based on surface area injured. All right. So workers' comp today is not a lot different from that, in that if you're doing a job and you lose an ear, you're going to get so much for that particular ear.
There is
right?
There is a value to the ear.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it can be fairly deal. Now, here's the thing. When you go to buy workers' comp, and I'll get into more of the history of it in just a minute, but when you go to buy workers' comp, you need to understand that the coverage is regulated by the state, not by the insurance company. So if you look at home and auto, especially home, or even commercial policies, you can have, hey, this policy includes this, doesn't include this, has this, doesn't have this. This one has just the opposite.
Right.
Which one do you want? Workers' comp, y'all listen to me. Workers' comp is workers' comp is workers' comp.
So the puzzle is the same.
That's right. It's the same picture.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's how much you pay. Okay.
Okay.
That's the great thing about us is we have 30, 40 workers' comp companies, and I have access to many, many more workers' comp companies. So if we can't help you with those 30 or 40, there's probably no reason to go to the others. Okay.
Right.
Because workers' comp is workers' comp is workers' comp. Now, certain workers' comp companies may say, well, we'll do roofers. This one may go, yeah, we're not touching roofers.
Right.
So they look
have
at the
different
class
appetites.
code. Yes.
Yeah, they have different appetites for type of workers they're looking to insure.
Now,
and can I piggyback a little bit on that for a second to give you, this is going to be painful, but I was going to give you a kudo.
Uh-oh.
You all right with that?
I'm not used to those, but go ahead.
I know.
I'm married, you know.
Fair. For quite a while. So nicely done on that. But another way, because this is what happens, well, it doesn't matter, but with workers' comp is you have to classify your workers correctly as well. And that dictates the rates.
That's right.
So you actually do it the correct way.
But we try to do it the correct way.
And we
ask a lot of questions.
We ask a lot of, so you can only do it based on the information you're being given. And so it's written that way, but you are actually asking the questions to do the best you possibly can to ensure that it is written correctly, opposed to, hey, it's a roofing company, this is where you go, and I'm just going to assume these people are blank.
Correct.
Right? Like how often do you run into poorly written or incorrectly written?
Oh, all the time.
All the time. So that would be another reason for discrepancy.
Yep.
It is what it is, but it does depend on, did you do the correct homework and did you write the policy the right way?
So
but
each employee is going to fall under a particular class code.
Yes.
For instance, if you have an employee that is just strictly admin office, that's going to be a class code 8810. Do not remember that. It doesn't matter. It's just its particular class code. And that is about the cheapest class code you can rate somebody. It's very, very inexpensive. Your office people, how often do they get hurt?
I have a story later.
Well, there's always a story, right?
Right.
They could get a paper cut. Heck, I had one that they made a claim for a spider bite. I mean, it's like, how do you argue that? Did you get spider bite at home or did you get it at work? Don't know. But
I have another comment on that.
Okay.
Workers' comp. So I did claims, workers' comp, and I did liability. With liability, what is the whole, if you're being accused of something, it's innocent until proven guilty, right? Workers' comp is different. It's opposite. The employer is guilty until proven innocent. Anyway, and that's just something to think about as well.
So here's the other thing about workers' comp. And this is going to get into the history that I'm going to review here in just a minute. If you have workers' comp policy and someone gets hurt, it is very difficult for them to sue the employer. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult for them to sue.
It has to be really egregious on the employer's standpoint.
Because there is an employer's liability aspect of it. So here's kind of how workers' comp works in a very small peanut shell, folks, okay? If someone gets hurt, workers' comp, the way that it compensates the employee is based off the injury and time lost. Payroll lost, okay? But you can.
What do you mean based on the injury?
Well, if you lose a finger,
that's
if you lose an ear
or disabled,
things like that,
like partially disabled, partially permanent, permanently, fully, like so. But that's typically a settlement at the end. But for your minor things of lost time, then yes, that's just hey, you lost time.
So
and
if
your medical
you are sued, it's usually under employer's liability, and here's how employer's liability works. And you buy limits. When you buy your limits, 100, 100, 100, 100, or excuse me, 500, 500, 500, or 1 million, 1 million, 1 million. That's how it's going to be sold to you, because if you have to have it for, say you're a contractor and you're working for a general contractor, general contractor is going to state you have to have workers' comp, and they're going to tell you how much you have to have
Okay.
That doesn't mean that's the bucket of money that they're pulling the medical and stuff like that
For the
from.
claims.
It means if you were to get sued for under employer's liability, because here's the thing, if you're the employee and you get hurt and you're working for a manufacturing company and you lose a finger or a hand or an arm or something, a piece of machinery, and you get sued because they told you kept telling me, hey, Dennis,
Something's wrong
there's
with
a
the
problem with this machine. Hey, Dennis, there's a problem with this machine. Hey, Dennis, there's a problem with this machine.
Right.
Now you're getting sued
For sure.
under employer's liability. That's where you're getting sued. And that's where your limits that you're purchasing really kick in. But just for the medical bills and stuff, the workers' comp's going to take care of that.
Right.
Outside of those limits that you have. It's outside
Right.
of the limits.
So if it's an unknown issue with machine, and even quite honestly, that's the thing too, even if it's the employee's fault, but if they're in the scope of their employment, it's covered. So they could, if you require eyewear, protective eyewear for your PPE, how about that?
Personal protection equipment.
Thank you. And you're either not wearing them correctly, not whatever the case is, and then something shard goes vink right into the eye. Now you're blind. Yes, it was their fault they weren't wearing the protective gear, but it still happened. They were at work. You're still paying for it.
That's right.
That's not like you can't. It's not a denial.
You're paying for it. Now,
You're not. Yeah.
on the flip, so with workers' comp, the employee is the one that controls the process. The employee, the workers' comp company, they employ. But there's another policy out there that's used a lot in trucking called occupational hazard insurance. And that is just like workers' comp, except the employer controls when you go to the doctor and when you don't. It's much cheaper. Trucking companies use it a lot.
I imagine that's
kind of go on that, but you're not protected from lawsuits.
Yeah, I was like, I imagine there's a downside there because if you're the one dictating, if the you being the employer being the one, oh, for sure, because yeah,
I'm not going to tell all the details, but I have someone who I know very, very well, that kept telling their boss there's something wrong with the vehicle. There's something wrong with this vehicle. And the boss kept saying, there's nothing wrong with the vehicle. It's all in your head, blah, 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 blah. But there's something wrong with the front end of this vehicle. I'm telling you, there's something wrong. Going down a 2-lane highway, something happened to the front end. They went through a little 2-lane bridge, went through the railing off into the ditch, almost the water. And part of the railing hit them in the side of the head.
Wow.
And guess what? That company ended up paying because that boss they told the boss numerous times that there was something wrong. And rightfully so, I'm sure they got a settlement out of it. Rightfully so. So
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
And there's more to the story that I cannot tell on camera,
sure.
But there is that. Any case, all right. So during the Industrial Revolution, and I do remember this, but I don't remember all the details, when manufacturing started happening, okay? Factories are using these new machines. They were trying to make all these goods at a larger scale because it was a manufacturing. You had
assembly line stuff.
Henry Ford developed the assembly line, but it also developed a lot of hazardous work conditions, right? So things got to be pretty dangerous. People worked in like really cramped areas. The machines weren't designed to be safe. They were designed to be efficient,
right?
Not safe. And during this time, injured workers had to rely on the court system to get compensation, which actually rarely happened. Employers had three laws that they could use to avoid liability. And these laws became known as the unholy trinity of defense.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Number one, contributory negligence. That's a big fancy legal term. Meant an employer wasn't at fault if the worker was in any way responsible for their injury.
refer back to Shard goes into
Right.
employee not wearing safety glasses.
That's right.
Yep.
Fellow servant doctrine prevented employers from being held liable if another worker caused an employee's injury. If another worker caused.
So that kind of sucks.
So let's say in today's world, they're driving
Like,
a
I'm
forklift.
dinking around, you get hurt.
That's
Employer's like, I wasn't dinking around. They were dinking around. Talk to that guy.
Well, let's say they weren't dinking around. Let's just say they didn't pay attention.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
And
but if it's
let's
not.
say a forklift bumps somebody and hurts them. Well, the forklift driver is the one that caused it. It wasn't the employer.
Here's the thing. If you're operating a forklift and you bump someone, you're dinking around somehow.
And here's the third one. Assumption of risk is a doctrine that stated
right there is
employees knew, and this was the hard one.
Well, yeah.
Employees knew and accepted the risk involved with their work when signing a job application.
Okay, so just to give you an example in like a real world today, an assumption of risk that we all take on. I say we all. If you go to a sporting event, let's say a baseball game, and you decide to sit close to a baseline or whatever, like if you're out in the home run area, foul ball, whatever it is, the assumption of risk that you are taking on by purchasing that ticket is I may get hit with a baseball, right? So that is in a today's world assumption of risk example. So I can only imagine how back then it's like, okay, well, you're dealing with this big machine that goes, and then you're supposed to stick your hand in, grab the finished product and move it. And you know this. So any court based on that last one is like, man, you knew there are forklifts there. So
that was the hard one.
You walk around and there's probably a good chance that you're going to get bumped by one.
Right.
How do you ever win that?
So workers' comp.
When was this? When were those just the unholy trinity?
This was through the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, great. So when was that? I don't remember.
1800s.
Okay, thank you. I was like, dang it.
Early 19.
Yeah.
All right.
I couldn't quite remember my history.
So Europe in the 19th century actually adopted something a little bit different. They had the Employers' Liability Law of 1871, which gave limited protection to workers in certain factories, quarries, railroads, and mines, as miners. So there was a little bit of protection for the workers at that point. And then in 1884, they came out with the Workers' Accident Insurance, which created sort of what we call the more like what we have today, the modern workers' compensation system.
Okay.
They gave them even more coverage.
Okay.
Public pension insurance gave workers with a non-work related illness money if they couldn't work.
That's like disability.
Work related illness money if they couldn't work.
Right? Would that be kind of like disability today?
Sort of, yeah. Public aid served as a safety net for workers who couldn't return to work because of disability. So this particular system gave employees at least something.
Okay.
Right? Now, in 1911, Wisconsin was the very first state to pass a workers' compensation law.
Look
in
at
1911.
you.
The same year, 9
progressive.
other states had workers' compensation acts. In the next 9 years, 36 states passed laws. Mississippi was the final state to enact a workers' comp law in 1948. Workers' compensation laws in the U.S. in 1908, Federal Employers' Liability Act. This gave railroad workers compensation if they proved negligence for their injury. 1911, Wisconsin. 1948, Mississippi. 1990, American with Disabilities Act passes. This requires all workers to be handicapped, all workplaces be handicap accessible, and to give employees with a disability reasonable accommodations. So that's sort of just a really basic history. There's more. I remember I read a whole thing about this, a small book about this years ago, and I can't remember all the details, but I do remember some of these. But workers' comp, the thing that people need to realize, especially in Texas, is that even if you don't have it, you're still responsible. You're still responsible. Now, does it have to be employees? No.
Yep.
This is where you get into. This is where
I don't have any employees.
What do you have?
They're 1099.
They're all subcontractors.
Yep.
All right. So, guys, here's the thing. Folks, listen to me really carefully, no matter what state you're in. If the insurance company, and I've said this before on another podcast, the insurance company does not care how you handle taxes. You can 1099 people all day long. What they want to know is if they're true subcontractors, they're going to have their own insurance. So if they don't have their own general liability and workers' comp, chances are you need to cover them for
Here, it's going to
workers'
go up the
compensation.
ladder, right? It's the whole thing of it goes up the ladder then, right?
What do you mean?
Well, if I'm a GC and I have subs and they don't have anything, then if they have something, then the buck stops there. Unless I was somehow negligent and I somehow created the unsafe situation, then it's a liability. But assuming I didn't, and they were just on a job site that I hired them to do, and they have it, the buck stops with them.
Correct.
But if they don't have it, then it's going to continue to go up the chain of command.
That's correct.
And
And I
then
have
it
a
will
story
hit
about
me.
that,
And
yes.
that's what I was saying, where it will continue to rise until somebody
Yep.
hits a policy or liability or a check or whatever the case is.
Yeah. No, you're correct. So you need to understand. I had this conversation with someone last week who has a company. I won't tell too much detail about it, but they have a company and they have all subs except 3 people. They have let's say 100 subs is what they told me.
Okay.
Okay. Do those subs have their own insurance? No. Then they're not subs. They're 1099 employees. Employees. We have to include their payroll on your workers' comp policy.
But they did not love that.
They're like, well, we've been doing this for a number of years. We've never had to have workers' comp. I'm like, you've never been asked in a contract for specifically for what you guys do to have workers' comp. No, it's just this new company we're wanting to contract that is requiring it. I'm like, I find that very hard to believe. Although I believe you, it's just very, it's not,
it's
not
bizarre.
normal.
It's unusual.
Because specifically for what you do.
Right.
And so I talked to them. And I just gave them information. They really enjoyed my conversation. The husband got the wife on the phone who used to work for insurance, but it was years ago. And I explained to her, I said, look, my job is to give you the information, act as an advisor. Then you guys have to make your own decision because it's a financial decision. That's what I told them. And they were very good with that because I did not push them. I just said, look, if one of your subs gets hurt and they do not have insurance, workers' comp, they can come after you for lost wages and medical bills. And because of what you do, it can be very, very serious. God forbid somebody gets killed, which is very possible with what they do. Somebody gets killed. Now you're getting sued. It's not just asking you for money. Now it's in a lawsuit.
Right.
And we're like, well, it's going to cost us blah, 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 because we do X amount in payroll a year. I'm like, it's your choice. I just need to tell you where you are with you're naked. That's what I told him. I said, you're running naked.
And that should just make life better.
Yeah, exactly.
Just as an insurance agent, anytime that I can tell one of my clients, you're
naked.
You're riding naked.
Yeah.
I think I should get the sale.
So anyway, they're like, well, can you get us a quote? I can get you a quote, and then you can make a decision based off that. Because with what you do is very, very dangerous.
And so
extremely dangerous.
Okay, so coming at it from a, let's say, consumer standpoint on that, right? So if I am this person and you're talking to me, and have you run the quote yet?
I have it out, and it's been very difficult to find because they haven't had workers'
because
comp.
they've been naked. Yeah. So
and now you run into that too. Companies are like, you haven't had it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
they've never had it. How long have they been in business? 15 plus years. Yeah, we're not interested.
Right. So can you ballpark me? Just ballpark. I understand you can have an outlier one way or the other, and it can come back surprisingly great, come back surprisingly
I've never
horrible.
quoted this type of company before for workers' comp.
Give me something. 100 people on payroll, 1099. Is it 100,000 a year? Is it 50,000 a year?
I would say my gut's going to tell me 20 to 30,000 a year.
Okay.
And I could be wrong.
Okay. So, but let's go with that. So let's say 25. let's say 30. It's
doesn't matter. It's
it doesn't
a big
matter.
number.
It doesn't matter. So $2,500 a month at $30,000 a year. Does that break the bank?
I don't know.
No. I mean, it
doubt it.
shouldn't, right? If we're running 100 people and 2,500 is breaking the bank, like we have some different business issues that we need to address rather than, you see what I'm saying? Like, regardless though, but it's like, okay, you know what, Dennis, I love that. This is really good information. You found the policy. I hear you, but I now have to start reworking my contracts to fit this cost into my business. Can I call you in 3 months? Right. And the answer is yes, of course, you can always call in 3 months. What that looks like in 3 months is different, but assuming nothing changes. But so I'm just saying you can approach it from, okay, I hear you. Now I have to start planning financially for it because I hear what you're saying, but I can't just necessarily pull a $30,000 trigger right now. Maybe this is part of my growth year and I'm investing in all of these things and I'm cash poor right now. Whatever. But I just think for a consumer, like maybe that could be like helping people kind of work through it where it's like, okay.
And I did help them think through that a little bit. I'm like,
build it into, you set your pricing with your clients. We don't set our pricing with our clients. That is not something we're able to do. A lot of businesses can. So you do a minor tweak here and there, couple percentage points.
Exactly.
And you build it back in. So you're not taking the hit. It's just your future contracts.
And that's what I explained to this person
way.
was like, hey, look, let's say it's $50,000 a year. I made up a number and I told them, I said, I'm making this number up. Let's say it's $50,000 a year. Based on your payroll, with what you do, you have billable hours. How many billable hours do you have for this amount of payroll?
Right.
Divide that into the cost. How much is that per hour? And increase your rate per hour.
Right.
By a buck or two, whatever it is. And it's not a huge amount when you break it down.
Not when you break it down like that.
Now,
and that's the
I don't
thing.
know how much is dictated them on their billable hours because they do contracts with other people. But they have, like, they contract with this company who gives them this work and they bill back. Now, but there's some they go direct to. Okay. So where can you increase your billable hours, dollar hour amount? Then you maybe increase it there. So it's not as bad as it sounds.
No, I would agree. And then here would be the other part. Worst case scenario is let's say that you're in a situation where it just truly is just an expense. It just is like
Absolutely.
It just is an expense and it is what it is, what it is.
Yep.
You can't make it up in cost and like pricing, charging people. It's peace of mind. If you have 100 people in this scenario, you have 100 people out there that can basically ruin your business like that. Do you want the peace of mind of knowing, ooh, I'm like, there's no way they can take my business. I now have the coverage. I've got the peace of mind. It's like life insurance. You hope that it is wasted premium, like when you have a term and things like that. You hope that you don't use it, right? Even auto insurance, you hope to not use it. You hope to just throw it away every month and every year, but you're really happy that it's there when it's there. And so I would just encourage people, and I know we're insurance agents, right? And so this isn't just like, oh my gosh, we need to get the sale.
No, they don't have to come to us.
Yeah, but like,
Just get it.
just you have to think about what is the cost of getting it, and that's a finite number, that's a fixed number, and then what is the cost if you don't get it, and then something happens, and that is the unknown, and is the unknown worth it? And from there, they make their decision, but
it's strictly up to them.
Yeah.
But and that's what I told the guy, look, if you don't have the dollar number of what it would cost, and I said, I am not trying to sell you something. I need you to understand. I was very adamant about that I'm not a sales guy in that respect. I'm the world's worst sales guy. And I said, but if something were to happen, how much can you afford to be out of pocket? And it was not long after that, he goes, why don't you at least get us a quote?
It's information.
I'm like, yeah, I said, good. Because I said, you don't know the answer is yes or no until you get a number.
Correct.
Then you got to think through.
Good for him. Like that to me, that's the type of client where I'm like, that's exciting to work with.
They say no, that's okay.
But at least it wasn't just this hard, oh, hell no, I don't need that shit.
Yeah.
No one's talked to me about that. We've been in business 15 years. Nothing's ever happened and blah, blah, blah. No, because you don't, at least the wheels are turning. It's like, okay, and you ask good questions there. You're like, how much do you have in reserve to just to make the problem go away? And I don't mean to like brush it under the rug, but to handle something, to ethically, morally handle a situation that has happened. So I'm not trying to say in like how pay someone off. That's
in this particular case, what they do is very dangerous. And I kept prefacing everything. Even when the wife was on the phone, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to get you to think through this. If one of your people is killed doing their job and you don't have workers' comp, do you think that family that's left behind is not going to sue you? Because they said, well, we've always just handled any medical bills and we've just paid them and went on. That's fine. Sprained wrists, sprained ankles, things like that. If you want to do that, that's your call. But I'm talking about something major.
right.
You don't think if it's a man that gets killed, the father, that wife is not going to sue you because she's got kids that she has to take care of?
Well, and
by the way, you can even, the spouse that's left behind can sue for, how do they call it? What do they call it?
loss of consortium.
Loss of, what'd you say?
Loss of consortium.
What's that mean?
Well, loss of sex.
Yes. They can sue you for that.
So so
marital relations or something. There's another name for it.
So if someone is married, wife, husband, whoever you employ or whatever.
So I could see you doing that.
Mom's got needs. Mom, it's somebody else's fault. Like, Mom's getting paid. You know what I mean? Jesus.
No, but you can. There's all sorts of little things out there.
But that's the thing, though, is that you have to. So we would have to get, on certain things, we would have to get a signed release from both the claimant, right? The person that the issue happened to with, whatever, and the spouse. They both have to sign off because, yes, there is exposure. Because the person where it happened could be like, oh, I'm totally fine. And the other one's like, well, sure, you're totally fine. You're a vegetable. You don't care. What happened to me? I lost my partner. I lost the communication. I lost this. I lost. Now I have to do everything. I now have to be a caregiver. I now have to, whatever the case is.
You have long-term needs now from just a medical perspective.
A medical, but even like if it's a personality adjustment, like you've done something where now my person has is struggling getting in a car because they were in this horrible car accident while they were on the job, and now they can't go over bridges. So like little things.
And the thing about it is, and what I told this is, look, I'm not trying to scare you. What I told the husband and wife, I am not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to get you to think about the bigger picture of what could happen. It may never happen.
Right.
Ever.
And you hope.
There are people that have businesses for years and never have a claim. I will tell you that that's less likely to happen in today's culture when you have lawyers that are ambulance chasers, true ambulance chasers. They'll kind of pull over at an accident on the side of the road and hand a business card. That happens. And you drive through, we're in Dallas-Fort Worth. You drive through Dallas-Fort Worth. How many billboards do you see? Have you been injured in an accident, or have you been injured at work, or have you been blah, blah? It's everywhere.
Well, now. So another point I was going to make, and then we went on that whole marital thing or whatever, but even if, so you were like, if you think that somebody's husband dies, like you don't think the wife, and if they've got kids, and even if.
They have to, they don't have a choice.
Well, hang on though, but like.
They have to sue, they don't have a choice.
Well, yes, maybe whatever the case is. But it takes one conversation with one person who hears that it happened. We talked about this all the time, like with my claims thing. I'm like, oh, I talked to the people. They're great. There's no issue. We get off the phone. I'm sending over like I'm thinking everything's fine. They talk to one person who's like, you should really sue the shit out of them, and you need to get an attorney, and da 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 da.
That happens
and then
all the time.
As soon as it's one person, and then when a death or something major is happening, there's a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And then everyone putting stuff in people's ears, whether they should or they shouldn't, or they have to or they don't have to. It's a reality that even from the, and then we've talked about that, like just the attorney's fees. Once a lawsuit is filed, the attorney's fees themselves are that can drain you.
Yeah.
So even if you're willing to pay, but once they get an attorney,
you're done.
You are out at least 50 to 100 grand.
Yep.
For a big loss like that. Anyway,
because
we're getting a little bit on time.
If it goes to court, now you're looking at a litigation attorney, which is different than the paper pushing attorneys. And
I will say most of them, only 2% of litigation goes actually to court, like trial. Usually you'll have a couple mediation, arbitration, whatever the case is. You'll try to settle it outside because
I don't know if 2% is
2%
reality anymore. I think it may not be 10.
No, 2%. I'm saying 2%
go to court.
Make it to court.
I think it's probably a little higher than that now. I'd have to go look it up.
Hell, I think they're so frivolous that they know they don't want to go in front of people.
No, because there is there is a term for it. There's nuclear verdicts and atomic verdicts, and those are becoming more and more popular. Nuclear verdicts means they're going after policy limits. Atomic means they're going policy limits plus. And here's the thing. If there's enough money involved, there are people and companies out there that will help you finance your lawyer, or the insurance company finance a lawyer, or excuse me, the person doing the suing, in hopes that they can make money off of it. That is a growing industry.
Okay. So I asked the ever so reliable ChatGPT because it's pulling from the internet, and there's the most accurate I've ever seen in my life. It does,
especially on insurance, right?
Mm-hmm. It says only about 3 to 5% of civil lawsuits ever go to trial. That means roughly 95 to 75% are settled or dismissed before reaching that point.
Yeah.
More detailed breakdown. Federal civil cases are around 2% make it to trial.
I was thinking 5%. That's what I was thinking.
State level civil cases between 3 to 5 go to trial, depending on the state, which is true. There are definitely some where it's like, you go to trial and you're getting, it's a good thing.
California.
Louisiana is bad. It's so bad.
Do they even have a court system in Louisiana, or is it just a good old boy system?
No, it's not. There's nothing good. Louisiana, the best thing that Louisiana has truly is they have a pay to play.
Yeah.
Right. So which means like if you don't have insurance, if you don't have just state liability limits, then you can't collect on somebody else's insurance. Yeah. Even if you're sitting at a red light and you get rear-ended by somebody else. Now you can still sue someone, but as far as an insurance company paying, like you have to prove that you have liability before we even talk about writing you a check.
Nice.
Yeah. Which I think is awesome. It's like, prove it. Okay. And then personal injury or workers' comp related cases. How funny that pulled that up. And I know you were talking in general, but it says often even lower, 1 to 2%. But again, that's because it's not typically a lawsuit with...
Well, the insurance companies want to settle too, right?
Well, correct. Yeah. Now, where they end up going to court is, definitely death claims. We had one. Oh, it was so bad. I had just started... I was within my first 12 months of working at this company, and they take the newbies to get exposure and all the things. I was not leading it at all. And it was a trucking company, and the driver had passed away and the wife was surviving and all the things. I think I've referenced this before, but when we're sitting there in mediation, trying to get it settled beforehand, the opening conversation included this slideshow video of like the man and his family and his wife, and then the unborn child that he never got to because his wife was pregnant at the time. And they played the 911 call where you hear the man like basically burning to death on fire, screaming as he's dying. And I was like, welcome to insurance, folks.
Let's just write the check and move on.
Yeah. I'm like this, and it's horrible. It's horrible. I will never forget that. I'm like, well, I got to listen to a man screaming as he basically died today.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
we are starting kind of running out of time a little bit.
I'm sorry.
But workers' comp in Texas, just to recap, is not required. But
Let's full circle. Let's actually get back on topic. Sorry about that.
But you are still responsible for medical bills and lost pay.
Yeah.
And you could be responsible for more than that.
If they're disabled. Yeah. If there's
Now they have ongoing long-term injuries. You ready to write the check for that? It doesn't matter what you're doing. I mean, somebody could be in a restaurant and slip and fall. They could get burnt by, if they're the cook, or, chop their finger while they're cutting onions, or it doesn't matter what you're doing.
We literally had one where a woman was throwing trash away in a trash can and she threw her back out, and then a surgery she had to have back surgery, and that surgery got botched, which ended up leading to another botched. Like, she was then disabled.
Mexico, or what?
No. But here's the thing. Once you open anyone up for like back surgery,
it's true.
That's a huge liability, and things are bound to go wrong.
More so then than now. But, and
10
I mean
years
that
ago?
because, I think because back surgery's gotten so much better with the microscopic and things.
Sure.
But I understand what you're saying.
But like, you mess with anybody's back.
Yeah. You hit a nerve, they're paralyzed.
Yeah. And so, but
well, hey,
and that's office.
You can sue the doctor. Okay.
Good luck.
You can sue the doctor.
You can sue anybody, but just good luck on all of it.
But ultimately, if you got hurt at work, guess who's responsible?
Yeah. So, so here's the point, and then we will truly wrap this up. But like, you can sue the doctor, but at that point, it's liability. So now you have to prove that the doctor was at fault. Where workers' comp, as I mentioned before, it is, you don't have to prove any liability. You just have to prove that it happened, or
injury.
You don't have to prove anything. The burden is on the employer to prove that injury did not happen at work because of work or whatever. And really, it's at work. If it was at work,
what's the Monday morning? What do they call it? The Monday morning
quarterback? Quarterback?
No, whenever somebody gets hurt over the weekend.
Oh my God, we had so many of those. I'm like, okay, we're gonna take a couple. So
they break their ankle.
Recorded interviews.
They break their ankle over the weekend, but they limp in on Monday morning
to work. Or their back hurts, but then Friday, everyone was talking about how they're going to have a great time at the lake all weekend, and like all their buddies and coworkers. We would record the crap out of all of the coworkers and be like, great, so what did you do this weekend? Who were you with? What's going on? Because we knew, like, when you're walking in at 8:15 and then we have video footage of you limping in, we're having some conversations and we're pulling all your known people in.
If you don't have an insurance company to help back you up on that, you're paying the law firm yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can talk about this forever.
A different culture that we live in is what my point was to one of the points I made to this.
We made a lot. It's been a really
the husband and wife this week. We're close on time.
No. We started 20 minutes late on that.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh.
we're almost.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But so guys, we're looking at a clock and I'm thinking we're at 28 minutes and you're saying we're much further than that.
Yeah, we turned that on about 23 minutes in.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get us a new clock person.
Yeah, we're going to have that conversation with Paul.
All right.
No,
so anyway,
awesome.
We're going to wrap it up then. Man, a lot on workers' comp. Comp. Who knew? All right. Well, again, I'm Dennis Settlemeyer, Stephanie Lencioni. This is Insurance Gone Wild. If you have questions, comments, I was going to say rude remark. Heck, rude remarks. You can send those too.
No publicity. It is bad publicity.
That's right.
Give us
a call, 817-753-0093, or email us at contact@igwpodcast.com and or hit us up on YouTube, like and subscribe.
For
Facebook.
the love, subscribe.
Oh yeah, we need we're growing. We appreciate that, but we need some more subscribers. So subscribe. We would love to see more people subscribe to us. Anyway, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again.